Ravesi-Weinstein here from the Runner's High, and author of Anxious, How to Advocate for Students with Anxiety, because what if it turns out right? So, we've all been stuck at home since when? Mid-March? We've been teaching from home, meeting on Zoom seemingly nonstop, and for many of us, taking care of our children and families. I have a first grader. Well, I did. He just finished school this week and he'll be entering second grade next year. But the point is, homeschooling was one heck of a challenge. I would sit there guiding him as we tried to figure out how many treats Wesson had left in his treat jar this week, thinking, is this kid this distracted at school? Does he whine this much? Does he call his teacher a buttface and cry when she asks him to fill out a hamburger model graphic organizer? COVID-19 has challenged so many of us in so many ways, and I don't want to negate any of that. But what I really want to focus on today is the impact it's had on those of us with anxiety, adults and students. To put it simply, anxiety is fueled by a lack of control. Sure, we can talk about the many things that trigger anxiety. Meeting new people, starting a new job, making presentations, germs, appointments, waiting. But every single one of those situations has one thing in common: control. Sure, I can control what I say when I meet new people or how I prepare for a new job or presentation. I can control my hygiene, hopefully, and what I need to get to an appointment on time, but none of those things are what make me anxious. It's the reactions of other people I perseverate over, their feelings, their criticisms, waiting for them to arrive on time. That's what makes me anxious, and all the other things I have control over. School closings were not something I had control of. The assignments my son had to complete, no control over those either. I had a lot to do and no structure in which to do it. I went from highly routinized to blowing in the wind. Asking someone with anxiety to change at the drop of a hat is like expecting a diabetic to produce their own insulin. It's just not going to happen. It's hard to focus and difficult to get motivated. It's like resorting back to being a child. You want to be free and run wild, but you actually need structure to accomplish anything of substance. The first month of the stay-at-home order was difficult. I struggled to find a structured way of balancing work, mothering, homeschooling, exercising, and oh, did I mention I started potty training my 3-year-old too? Yeah, so there was that going on as well. My mind was racing and my irritability was high. I was trying to get comfortable with my new schedule, all the while fighting the what-ifs in my mind. Sleep was difficult. Songs would repeat over and over in my head while I tried to just give it a rest already.
I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be a man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at your door.
But once I got into a routine, my anxiety started to decrease. I started working out regularly, getting my son's schoolwork done, meeting all of my work demands. My daughter finally pooped in the potty instead of her pants, and I was actually starting to sleep again. But just as I get comfortable in my new routine, there's yet another big change on the horizon. As students and teachers finish school and begin their summer vacations, I'm returning to work, meaning going back to the office again, like next week. My routine is about to change. Again. So there goes my anxiety. The anticipation of what a return to school is going to look like for me, my family, my sleep, my exercise, and my work is overwhelming. I have no control over what the future is going to look like. Will I be working remotely part-time or back in the office full-time? Will my family be returning to work and school? And if so, what will their schedules look like? Look, Sunday nights are hard enough for me. I'm changing from the comforts of my re-established weekend routine to that of a work week. And we're only talking about 2 days. Now we're talking about 15 weeks. Imagine what this is going to feel like for our students with anxiety. It's going to be nearly 6 months by the time they return to school. That's longer than any vacation they've ever had since they started school. The first day back from a summer vacation can be anxiety-inducing enough for anxious students. Trust me, I would start the countdown weeks ahead of time. I still do. But now on top of that, we're adding 4 months and the uncertainties of learning with 6 feet of social distance, well, 6 feet of social distance between everybody else except their anxiety, that dear old friend doesn't understand the concept of distance. Routine is an essential strategy to fight anxiety. It's one all sufferers will tell you helps because it allows you to establish control over your environment. So here's the thing. I want you to consider how difficult first the establishment of a new routine was for our students with anxiety, and then how difficult the return to school will be for them with completely different setups, schedules, and expectations. When we return, please don't fall back into bad habits. Don't start sweating the small stuff again. Remember, think big picture and prioritize the social and emotional wellness of students and colleagues. Many of them will be struggling with the push and pull of their anxious minds as they struggle through routine and quarantine. I'm Christine Ravesi-Weinstein. For more stories and strategies to support anxious students, make sure to check out my book, Anxious, from Times 10 Publications. Go to my website, www.ravesi-weinstein.com, for more information, and follow me on Twitter at @Ravesi-Weinstein. And don't forget, you got to get out there and take that risk. Because what if it turns out right? Not what if it goes wrong. Take care.